Welcome back to Grace Abounds in Deepest Waters. For today, I've actually chosen and been very brave to choose the topic why we decided to homeschool and continue to homeschool after 7 years. I'm sure when a lot of people heard 7 years ago that I was going to homeschool my kids, they probably thought it's just a passing phase and that eventually she's going to give up. Well, here we are 7 years later. Now, the reason why I say I was very brave is because normally when people hear you homeschooling, you open yourself up for a lot of scrutiny, and a lot of people actually feel offended because they think that the reason why you chose to homeschool your kids is because you feel everyone else made a bad decision to send their kids to school. In our case, that's not it. I've always been of the opinion that homeschooling is for anyone, but it's not for everyone. And for obvious reasons, there's a lot of people that just doesn't have the patience to do it. And they say it. When they hear that I homeschool, they say, "You've got a lot of patience." I don't have the patience to do that. There's some people that feels that they just don't have enough time to do it. We don't all have the luxury of being home. Some of us actually has to go to work. There's so many reasons why not everyone can do it, and I'm not here to criticize anyone for not doing it. This is just what God has laid on my heart, and it's the reason why we decided to homeschool our kids. Okay, and then as a disclaimer, I also have to let you know that I love teachers, I love teaching. On my dad's side, I actually come from a long list of teachers. In fact, my dad's uncle was an inspector, inspecting teachers to make sure that they teaching kids the correct way. I've got nothing against teachers. I think they need to definitely be more given more credit for the hard work that they do. Many of them with 30 kids in their class, 40, 50 kids in their classes. It's impossible to give each child individual attention, and I commend them on the hard work and the wonderful work that they are doing. In any case, I don't think any homeschooling family has ever decided to homeschool because they don't like teachers. It's got more to do, in my opinion, with homeschooling systems, and I'm not talking about the South African homeschooling system. There's kids homeschooled all around the world, everywhere, and I think in many cases it's more got to do with the schooling system opposed to an individual teacher and the way she taught your child. So yes, do join me while I go through my list. And the reason why I made a list, and I think it's something everyone should do, is so that on those hard and difficult days, there's something I can go back to and refer to and read my whys again. And I think those whys is what strengthens you on those difficult days. I'm not going to explain each of my reasons. I probably might explain one or two of them, but I've decided not to explain them, just merely for the fact that this video will be extremely long if I must elaborate on each point I've written down. But here is my reasons. My first reason: to preserve my child's innocence. 2. To prevent early sexualization. 3. To avoid peer pressure until they are old enough to be able to withstand it. 4. Keep consistency in the classroom. Of course, they've got the same teacher every year. Number 5. For me to be able to be involved in what they are learning and what they are reading. 6. No homework. 7. More time as a family. 8. The ability to focus on character training and behavioral issues. I can never say that word properly. Behavioral issues. Number 9. The ability to build up their confidence. Number 10. A Christ-centered teaching. Number 11. teaching concepts that does not challenge our belief system at a young age. Now I know they'll be exposed to other religions when they are out there. You can just go to the park and they'll be exposed to someone that doesn't believe the same we believe. But while they are young, I'd like to focus more on what we believe and root it deeply into them, so that when they are older, they know what they stand for and what they believe in. And of course, we teach them to respect everybody else's religions and beliefs that they meet in life. Number 12, the ability to avoid bad peer influences. 13, the ability to advance and pull back their skill level. So what I mean by that is that if we're doing maths and I see that Asna is understanding the work and she's getting all the sums right, I then can advance to the next lot of work, the next concept. But if I see that she's getting it all wrong, that's a clear indication that she doesn't understand what she's doing. So at that point, I can then tell her to stop. We can re-explain the work and then do some more exercises regarding that work. Okay, my next point, the ability to encourage their different personalities, their different gifts that God has given them, and also to concentrate on their individual interests as they come. So I've got 4 kids, 4 very different kids, 4 kids with 4 different interests and gifts. We now have more time to focus on those things, and they can go for, let's say for instance, Aisha's into piano playing. You can then go for the piano lessons in the middle of the day while other kids are at school, and we can focus on his interest. And if I see Esther is into a violin, she can then go for the violin lessons, and she can advance those lessons without any interference of other responsibilities. Let's say Osha wants to play soccer, he can then go for the soccer lessons. Okay, then number 15, this was my last one 7 years ago when we decided to homeschool, was to spend more time with my kids. I was always very sad that I lost out so much on their early years. I lost out on when they started walking, when they started talking. And for me, this was the big bonus point, was to be at home with them and to actually see the twins start to crawl, to walk, to talk, and now teaching them how to read and how to write. So those were my reasons 7 years ago. Okay, so now that I've mentioned the reasons I had 7 years ago, I'd like to tell you why we continue to, after 7 years, still prefer to homeschool. So here's my reasons. I'm once again not going to explain them. I'm just going to go through them. I might explain 1 or 2, but let's see how it goes. Okay, the first one. I believe they have stronger relationships, not only with us as their parents, but also with their siblings, and also with the Lord, because we have more time to disciple our kids. Number 2, they're learning more at home than I would think that they would have learned at school. I say this because we go more in depth into the topics that we do. We are currently doing the CAPS curriculum, so we're using the same textbooks that public schools is using. The bonus that we have, we don't only have the textbook. We can also watch documentaries on TV. We can watch things on YouTube. We can actually, when we do transport, we went to the transport museum, and my kids actually saw the buses, the maroon buses that my parents was using when they started working 40 years ago. So we go more in depth into topics, and that's actually quite nice. The next one that I have here is that they're safer at home. Now I know that accidents happen everywhere, anywhere. If they don't fall off the jungle gym at school, they could also fall down the balcony at home. But like I say, accidents happen everywhere. But I think it's just less prevalent at home. If I think about bullying, I think my kids are less likely to be bullied at home. If I think about pornography, they're not exposed to things like that at home. Okay, my next point is they are able to learn more life skills at home than they would learn at school. Because at home, life happens all the time. They learn how to cook food. They learn how to clean. They learn how to life skills in general, the things that you will have to be able to do one day when you leave your parents' house and go and live on your own. They'll be able to do it for themselves. That's actually a topic on its own for me. I've always been of the opinion that I don't want to have a lot of children because I don't want my older children to have to look after my younger children, because that's normally what happens in a big household. The older kids end up cooking the food and keeping the house neat and tidy, and the younger children they actually end up having to look after their little brothers and sisters. So I was always against having my children cooking and cleaning, but I do realize that it's an important life skill. There's a lot of important life skills that they need to learn while they're in your house. So that has made me slack off a bit and give them responsibilities like whose turn is it to wash the dishes, who's sweeping, because it's things they're going to need to know one day when they leave this house. Okay, my next one is we have freedom of time. So if we decide that we want to go on an excursion today, we pack up and we go. If we decide that, and we actually had this case just last year, my granny was very ill and we were called to come and see her. We could leave school that day and go all the way to my granny and spend the last few hours with her, around her bed with her when she was passing on. And it's something that you don't always have the privilege to do. We could say goodbye to her. Okay, morbid topic, but let's continue. Okay, the next one. Oh, we finished all of them. Oh no, my kids are more healthier. Anyone that's put their kids in creche would know that whenever someone has the sniffles in creche, it's not long before your little one comes home with the sniffles. If someone in the class gets lice, if my daughter happens to sit next to that person, she'll also be coming home with lice. So that's one of the things that we've been very fortunate with. They're very healthy because they're not exposed to too much illnesses coming from someone else outside of our home. That doesn't mean they don't get sick. They do get sick, and normally we all get sick together, but it happens less often than I think if they were to go to school. So that's my reasons why we still continue homeschooling. I just want to also say that, okay, they say that you only get 18 summer holidays with your kids. Well, Asad and Aisha has been through quite a lot of those summer holidays already. And like I said, one of my main reasons was that I wanted to spend more time with my kids. And I believe that one day when you look back, you're not going to say, I wish I spent less time with my kids. Or I wish school was open more so that I could send them more to school. I think when you look back one day, you will know in your heart that you've done everything in your power to groom your kids as best you could so that they can face a future on their own. And also, the time that we spend together is irreplaceable. So I thank God for the opportunity that I have to be able to not only disciple my kids in His Word, but also to play a part in their education. There's a false, people think that when you homeschool your kids, it's because you don't really care about education. But in actual fact, it's actually because we care more about education. We care more that our kids cope and they are able to do the schoolwork that we decide to homeschool. So they get more attention homeschooling than, in my opinion, they would get in a class full of 30 children or 40 children or 50 children. So that's all for today. I hope to see you soon again. God bless.